people, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sammy and I'm a writer who likes to help other writers become better writers, and I like to learn about writing through reading and share what I learn with you. Today is kind of a crossover between both my normal video types, the writing tip and the story studies, but I figured it might be better on a Tuesday because I'm technically writing. I am going to be setting up my reading journal for 2023. That's weird to say. That's super weird to say. For one, I'm setting up a reading journal because I read enough now that it makes sense to have one. And that's super cool because I've always looked at people setting up their bullet journals for their reading goals and stuff. I've been like, wow, that's really cool, but I don't read enough to do that. And as of right now, it's not the end of the year yet. I'm at like 67 books read, and my goal was 55 last year. This year it was 65 because I overstretched on my goal for 55. And I hit like 58 or something, and now I'm already like ahead of that, and I have a new reading strategy for next year, which we'll get into in another video coming up. So make sure you subscribe if you want to hear about that. Today I am going to be setting up just the opening pages, just like the yearly setup things into this journal for 2023. I'm not positive how I want to do the monthly setups yet, but if you would like to see how that ends up happening, maybe at the end of January into February, I can do like a flip through and a plan with me type video like this again. If you're interested, leave me a comment and we'll see what happens with that. So let me pass it off to my voiceover self.
Welcome to the voiceover. So this is the notebook that I'm going to be using for my reading journal this year. It's adorable. I really love the color. It reminds me of cotton candy. The strap is the same color as that loop on there, but this is a Scribbles That Matter journal. I got it because I thought I was getting the biggest notebook, the B5. I got a B6. Normally I'm in an A5 journal, which is this one. And I ended up getting this for my regular bullet journal because the B6 is just too small for me to do what I normally do with it. So we're going to try out doing this reading journal thing and see how that works out. I will say I am really excited to get into this notebook because both of them, really. I've been using the pen test in the back of this for my fountain pens, and they have all of the inks I've tried have been really, really nice, and I like broader nibs on my fountain pens. Let me know if you're interested in that because I would be happy to make videos on fountain pens, but if not, like, we're good. This notebook is specifically designed for bullet journaling, mostly. So it's got the index pages at the front, and then it opens to a full spread of dot grid pages, which is really nice because some of them don't do that. And because I already have this notebook out, I'm just going to use it to support the cover side page of this notebook while I'm using it because it's really hard to write when your notebook is flopping over. It's a really nice notebook. It lays flat on every single page. You don't even have to train it, but support is always nice. It's always good to have some. This first page I am using as a grid spacing guide. This is something that Amanda Rach Lee, the queen of bullet journaling, came up with. I don't use it as much as I think I should, but I also don't really often make complicated spreads in my bullet journals for planning stuff, but I think I'm going to be more adventurous in this one. I love notebooks that are designed for bullet journaling because they have more convenience features. Like this particular notebook has the vertical, the up and down halfway point marked, so I don't have to worry about finding that point all the time or counting to get there. The A5 size of this journal has it on the horizontal as well, but unfortunately the B6 is not, the middle point isn't at a dot, so it's like in between dots, so it's not marked. So I'm just going to go in and mark that halfway point myself with a long dashed line because that's going to be the one that I'm going to use the most out of all of these. Also, don't know if you noticed, but I messed up the fourths horizontally. There's like a weird spacing in there. This next spread, I drew lines, but I forgot what I was going to do, so I was about to trace them, and I'm glad I didn't because that would have been really sad for me. So this is going to be my new release future log, basically, where I'm just going to write down the dates that books that I'm either excited to read or that I've won in giveaways, because I'm getting real good at winning giveaways on Goodreads, when their release dates are, so that I know when to be excited for them, when to look for them, and when to post videos for them if I get ARC reads. I was really thinking about putting mini calendars in here, but I realized how stupid that would be and how much of a waste it would be for my hand because the dates don't actually matter, like what day of the week it is. It's just the numerical date that's going to matter for a release calendar. So I'm glad I decided against that. But I don't do handwriting real great. I don't do like brush lettering or any of that. So this is just like basic cursive, and then I wrote in print over it so I would be sure to be able to read it, because I'm not like a bullet journal queen. I'm just a girl who likes them, as you can see by my crinkling my page with an eraser. I know what to do to make that not happen, yet I still do it almost every single time. I enjoy matching the color schemes for my yearly setups with the actual notebook, because I don't know what mood I'm going to be in when I'm going to be looking back on it throughout the year, but I do know that I like the notebook. So if I'm going to keep picking up the notebook, having everything be in that same color scheme is going to be really pleasing for me. So I've got that pink color that's just a Crayola super tip, and a gray, which is usually the combination I choose, is whatever color the cover is, and then a gray or a black or like a paler version of that color if it's like a navy blue or something, so that I have that contrast. But as of right now, where I'm watching myself do this back, I'm really liking it. I really like this color scheme this round. It's fun. Anywho, all of these boxes that I'm drawing on this page are my reading goal tracker, which technically I do on Goodreads, but I think it would be nice to have a physical admiration of it, just numerical. I definitely set up the spread wrong. I completely counted wrong. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get 77 because I'm going to do 11 rows of 7. And then I only counted out 10 rows. And I was going to use the very top for a title. And then I was like, dang, that's not right. So now my title is going to be on the side horizontally, which is not that big of a deal. It all does the same thing. And I'm setting my goal as 75 for next year, because I have a new plan for how I'm going to be reading and how I'm going to be able to spend more time reading while also not spending so much time reading. Very confusing, but I plan to talk about it in a video coming up, so make sure you're subscribed for that. I am setting up this to have extra spaces, so it's going to have 77 squares, except for 75, which is going to be a star, because that's my actual goal, and if I only hit 75, that's fine. Don't mind me, I just hate how I drew that star every single time. I was like, how can I make this better? The ruler, it did not make it better. All of my eraser shavings of shame. And look, it's not better. It's so much worse. Whatever, it's gonna work. It's gonna do what it needs to do. Ugly star aside, I'm just gonna put my title in here and start numbering all of these boxes, which you're gonna see here that I am not what a bullet journal social media person is supposed to be, because I really just don't care when I make mistakes. Like, wait, I'm just supposed to be doing odd numbers. 1, 3, 4, 5. Yep, count, figure, okay, great. 7, cool, awesome, keep going. I don't care. Like, some people would cut out a square of paper and cover it up or use whiteout. It's just not that big of a deal for me. I know that if I have to make my bullet journal perfect, I'm not going to use it. So I'm just going to be genuine with myself and let it be what it is, because I am not perfect and neither will my spreads be. It's all about being true to how you will actually use this system. So this next page, I am taking a lot of inspiration from Joshi Corinne, but also not setting it up yet because I'm not sure how to do it. So this is the tracker that she made up, and I really enjoy it. She's got a YouTube channel here that's all bullet journal content. Really great. I don't know how to make this work for books. I just need to figure it out, because that's set up for TV shows so that every episode is something you mark off, and I'm obviously not going to mark off every single chapter, but you know, we'll see. This next page, I'm just going to write titles that are 5-star books that I read, so that's just going to be a list, and that's it. I'm genuinely super excited for this one. It is so extra. It's so extra. And there's no reason for me to do it except for the fact that it's going to bring me a lot of joy and be a lot of fun for me. But this is basically going to be a spreadsheet for the year of all of the books that I read. Like genres, what format that I read it in, ebook, audiobook, or physical book, if the author was a male or female, or like identifies as one of those things, when I started it, when I finished it, and just keep track of all of those details, because I'm such a spreadsheet person lately. I have a spreadsheet TBR, even though 90% of it is listed in Goodreads, but I actually more of it. I have a longer TBR on Goodreads than I have on my spreadsheet, but that's a whole other story. I'm just really excited because I'm not really great at keeping track of habits in a habit tracker, though I always set them up. I just give up like halfway through the month, or I get busy at some point and then completely forget about it and say, oh, well, it'll be fine. I'll do it next month. But this isn't going to be a daily check-in thing. It's just going to be when I pick up a book and when I put down a book. That's it. So I think it's going to be a good time. Oh, I also put a star rating in here. I'm also going to have the star rating in here. I'm so excited to see how this is going to end up looking at the end of the year. And I made sure to do 2 pages of this, so I'm going to set up the second page. As I clear out all of these eraser shavings, this is going to get me over 75 slots, so I can actually track every single book that I read, because my goal is 75, and I made sure to like actually count how many lines, how many dot grid lines there are, and to be sure, like, this is me doing the math right here, like, this is how much space I have. Yes, I definitely need to do a full page spread. I am so excited to see how these 2 pages turn out. It's so dumb. It's so dumb that I'm excited about it, but that's the point of bullet journaling, is to find the things that are gonna make you happy and the things that are gonna make you want to use your journal, and these are it for me. These are it for me, because some people really like to just draw a bookshelf onto a couple of pages in their notebook and then like have a color code and write people's titles in and all of that stuff. But I tried that and I didn't like it, and I never went back to looking at it because it stressed me out to have to write that small. But a spreadsheet, I'm down for. This next page is gonna be really simple. I am going to take from my digital spreadsheet TBR list, and I'm going to put down the books that I definitely want to read this year. And I'm separating it into like fiction and then just the books on writing that I want to read. And I think this will be fun because they're titled opposite, to have the dots be opposite colors. But we are now very quickly into the next page, which is going to be my best book of the month page. Not like book of the month, the brand, but like the best book that I read in that month. This type of spread has been done by a lot of different people, and people do it differently. I think I'm going to shoot for printing off the book covers and putting them into these little squares where they're like designated to be. But I think that if that doesn't end up happening, I'm cool with just writing the titles in. Other people have done spreads like this and drawn the cover, but I am no artist. While I'm cool with my bullet journal not looking perfect, I do want to stay within the realms of possibility of looking nice. So my regular handwriting is good enough for me for most things. Drawing is just not one of those things that I've got going for me. So either writing in the titles or printing off the covers for that. And I'm also going to do a bracket for the best book of the year, and just write the titles into these little slots and then choose as the year finishes or progresses. I think it'll be fun. And then in that top corner, either I'll write the title or I will put in a printed off book cover in there. But I think this is going to be a fun little spread. I've never really pitted any of the books that I've read against each other before, so I think it's going to be a good time for me to see what my favorite book of each month has been to read, which will then be me pitting them against each other every month and then pitting them against each other at the end of the year, because it might be interesting to actually have some way of making that decision. This next page is very much just for me. This is the system that I've worked out for content planning for my YouTube videos lately, where I've got like each section split off into months, and then on one side is the dates that are Tuesdays, and then the other side is the dates that are Saturdays, and then I just write in either the title of the book or the concept for the video that I want to do, and I'm just gonna keep that up because it's worked for me so far. I tried doing like a full calendar of like when I was gonna film and like when I was gonna edit, but my life changes so much that I just decided against it. So I'm just gonna keep it with the simple 2 columns, title. I write them in pencil so that if I need to move stuff, I can, and then I do. This next page that looks just sort of like lines thus far, because I did not initially plan it, is going to be like a growth tracker of sorts. I'm gonna see like what my analytics are and how I'm doing in various social media stuff. Even though I'm not like putting any pressure on myself for any of these things, it's something that is nice to look at to see when I'm doing stuff right or doing stuff wrong, and if people are enjoying it or absolutely hate it. So that's what this is going to be. I actually forgot about this one. I forgot I wanted to have this in here, so I had January written on the next page. But I think I'm just going to hold the next page empty for the time being in case that I start adding things that I didn't write down on this chart, and I can just spread out. Onwards and upwards, we are on to the last page. I am setting up the cover page for this notebook at the end because I wasn't sure what the vibes were going to be or how anything was going to turn out when I wrote it down in pen. So we're just going to go with the flow and make it look however it's going to look. I kind of like the vibes of putting in random shadows. I know most people do it so that it looks like light is coming from one direction, but I like how it looks when it's kind of just like a stitching. Like it's just a random black outline around it, kind of the way hand stitching would look if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm not really matching the energy of any of these numbers because that's too much pressure for me, and I'm not about it. But this is going to be the front of this, so I want to make it look at least like I tried and not necessarily like I tried too hard. But I'm probably going to end up using this notebook for longer than just 1 year, so having the cover page is actually going to be beneficial in the end when I end up setting up maybe 2024 in the middle of it. This part right here is going to be the most impressive. I'm actually whipping out official calligraphy that I learned in college. Look at that. Look at how pretty that is. I'm just too lazy to do it for everything, but it's cute right there. That's the cover page, baby. And now for a little flip through.
All right, that is it for today. Thank you for joining me on this fun little journey of setting up my first ever reading bullet journal. I may not be an artist, but it is fun and it is something that really makes me want to physically track these things. So if you are interested in how I set up January or setting up February with me, let me know in the comments. If you don't want to miss any of my uploads, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell next to it. There are some really great goal setting, mindset reflection, end of the year, beginning of a new year type videos coming up. So if you don't want to miss any of those, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell next to it. I'm here every Tuesday and Saturday, so I will see you guys on Saturday for a story study.